Awesome. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Live from the Nest, another one of your Ask Admission sessions. Probably wondering who I am. Maybe you've seen me before and maybe not. My name is Keani Greer. I'm an admissions counselor here at Kennesaw State University. I'm actually a graduate of KSU, alumni of 2018, got my degree in public relations. So I like to read, write, and talk a lot. Obviously, I'm probably in the best field that I could probably be in, doing all this great stuff. But what are you here for today? Obviously, we have our guest from the Honors College today. I'm also here with Sam and I'm here with Casey. And we're going to get into all that cool stuff in just a few moments. But obviously some housekeeping things, things that you need to know, i.e. news from the nest. Important deadlines, things coming up. Obviously, you're tuning in for a reason. You're trying to figure out, you might be interested in KSU and you want information about the application, or you've already applied and, when are the deadlines, or all those cool things. So the main things that we want to talk about right now are going to be deadlines. So deadlines are coming up. And, all of us may not love deadlines, and that's okay, but, they help the world go around. Some important ones for us, it's going to be the summer 2021 deadline. So if you plan on applying to KSU for the summer of 2021, which I'm also going to be taking classes in the summer of 2021, so I got my application in. I'm going to be doing some graduate courses. I know, yay, me. Yay. All those cool things. Thank you. So I'm super excited about that. So I got my application in early. But if you're trying to take classes in the summer semester, whether you're a first-year freshman or a transfer student, or you're coming back, you've been out of school for a while, trying to readmit, wherever you fall on the spectrum when it comes to our student types, May 1st is going to be the deadline for the summer semester. So now you got to keep in mind that when it's the summer semester, classes start, we do have what's called a Maymester, which is a really crunched up semester where you can get a lot of work done in a very short amount of time. We're talking like 2 weeks. And then we have our longer summer semester. So that might be 10 weeks or 8 weeks or say 4 weeks. So you got to keep in mind, you want time to sign up for your classes, to get everything in. Give us in admissions enough time to process your documents. That would be great. So remember, May 1st is coming up. And then the big one, most of our students graduating high school this year. And again, big shout out to all the seniors in high school right now. Obviously, we're still, fighting through a pandemic. We hope that it's, we see that things are kind of trending in a more positive direction. But you guys have really done an amazing job with being engaged with your coursework this year, just from the conversations that we've had as counselors. And you're exceptionally brave, for the things that you've had to do. I could not imagine when I graduated high school or my senior year back in 2014, having to, be online pretty much the entire time, but not to mention everything else that's just been going on in this last year. So kudos to you. But big thing, your deadline is going to be June 1st. Now, that's plenty of time. In my mind, that's plenty of time. But you got to think there's certain things that are open right now. Scholarships are open. Orientation is open. What else is open? Housing is open. I think we talked about housing, but things are open that you have to be accepted to take advantage of. We can't, obviously, we'd love to let you fill out the housing application, right off rip and then, get accepted after the fact, but that's just not the order of things and how things work. So you do have to be accepted first. So please get us your applications in, get us your documents so that way we can get you taken care of and get you set up for the fall of 2021. My transfer students, we're excited to welcome you into the nest. We can't wait for you to get here. From whatever institution that you're transferring from, we're going to be excited for you to arrive. Your deadline is going to be June 15th. So you have June 15th to get your application in, so keep that in mind. Be proactive about it. I know transferring can be a little bit of an arduous process because you're still taking classes, but you're trying to secure your next school of where you want to be, which is where you want to end up here at KSU. So if you need help, contact us, work with us, so that way we can get you going with all that stuff. Okay, next, my accepted students that have already been accepted, primarily those freshmen coming in this year for the fall of 2021. We have our accepted student days coming up. We have our online Zoom virtual events coming up. And this is just a chance for you to engage with us, to engage with various departments on campus. So that way you know what you need to do prior to enrolling here at KSU. But it's also a time for us to celebrate you, to celebrate your accomplishments. You could have chosen, from however many schools that you applied to, but KSU was your first choice and this is where you want to be. So it's our way of celebrating you, but also making sure that you're set so that way you can enroll and get things rolling here at KSU. So I'm gonna kick things over to Sam, and she's gonna talk to you guys about some financial aid deadlines that we have coming up.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Samantha Klaas. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at KSU. We have 2 deadlines for you coming up for financial aid. The scholarship deadline for our internal scholarships is going to be April 1st. And like Kiani said, some of those things you do have to be accepted before you can apply, and those scholarships are one of them. So make sure you are getting that application in as soon as possible. Make sure you're getting your transcripts into us, whether high school and or college, if you're doing dual enrollment, all that good stuff. And then as soon as you get accepted, start applying for those scholarships. How can you go wrong with free money for school? And then if you do get selected for the dreaded verification from FAFSA, I know it happens. Your documents are going to be due May 1st. So make sure you get that done, because again, it's going to be one of those processes. If you don't have the paperwork in, we can't give you that money for school, and that's not a good situation to be in. So make sure you're getting your stuff done, and of course, if you need any help with that, financial aid is always here to help, and us at admissions, we're always here to help too.
Phenomenal. Thanks, Sam. And just know, if you're an accepted student at KSU, you have a financial aid counselor. I was a first-generation college student, and when you're a first-generation college student, you kind of don't have a lot of the information that you need ahead of time when it comes to the college admissions process, but also the financial aid process. So if you're accepted, even if you're not, you can still give us a call to get information regarding your FAFSA, anything related to financial aid. They're there to help you, and that's the main thing. So you have a financial aid counselor by the first letter of your last name. So go to the financial aid website, get in contact with them if you need some help, okay? Okay, so the reason that we're here today, obviously, if you're tuned in, you probably want some very good information regarding our Journey Honors College. And I'm not necessarily the one that's gonna be able to give you all that cool information. That's why we brought our wonderful guest, Casey Waldsmith here. Casey, can you introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about what you do within the Journey Honors College?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So I'm Casey Waldsmith. I am the Senior Program Manager for KSU Journey Honors College. And I actually have a really rich history here at KSU. I was thinking about that actually this morning driving in, just how big KSU has been in my life. So I actually received my undergraduate degree here in marketing, and then I also received my MBA from KSU, and then of course now I work here full time. So I absolutely love it here, and now I'm fortunate enough to work with honors, and so I really help run our program. I do our communications and marketing work. I do our recruitment, which is why I'm here with you today. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, I think something that's cool is that you've done so much. I think I was a tour guide when I in my undergraduate degree. So if you total all the years that I've been here at KSU, plus my work experience now as a professional, it's getting close to 6 years. Mm-hmm. And it's just crazy how many different things that you get to do, the different hats that you get to wear. You're a double owl, which is huge. We also have some double owl pathways. If you're wondering what a double owl pathway is, check that out online. If you're interested in getting a bachelor's degree and a master's degree roughly at the same time, check that out. But I think everybody has a cool journey to KSU, whether you started here in your undergraduate degree or you're, like Sam, and started another university and you work here professionally.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
we do have some questions for you
Awesome.
regarding the
right.
honors college, and she's ready.
Ready.
She's ready. So Sam, you want to kick things off for us?
Yeah, so I mean, the first question that most students are gonna think of when they think Journey Honors College or honors in general in college, what is the difference between an honors student and a traditional student?
Yeah, so this is one of the most common questions I get when I do our recruitment events. So a lot of students and their parents too, when they come see me, one of the first things they ask is, what is the difference? And then they automatically think about high school, and they think, I did honors and AP throughout high school. It was a lot more work. It was, added a lot to my plate. I'm already a little bit worried about this transition. So, what is this program about? So I always tell them, our honors college here is not what you did in high school. It is totally and completely different. We're not about adding extra hoops for you to jump through as a student or extra requirements. We are all about providing opportunities for our high achieving students. Right. So We have what we call a flexible curriculum, and that's something that I always encourage students, if you're looking at other schools, and especially if you're looking at their honors college or their honors program, make sure you look at that curriculum, because usually it's 24 to 27 hours of a prescribed curriculum, which means they're going to tell you certain classes that you need to take, and usually they're in some kind of a sequence. And we found that what happens with that kind of model is that students sometimes will have to stay longer to complete those classes, and then it doesn't always make sense for someone who's majoring in, say, biology to take the same courses as someone maybe who's majoring in dance.
Right.
So we created this curriculum where we let you pick and choose what your experiences are.
Nice.
And you get to customize your learning that way. So you get to add to your portfolio, pick the things that are going to make you stand out. It works with every major on campus flawlessly. So you really get to build your resume that way, and it doesn't add time or cost to your degree. So we just have a smaller community with extra opportunities, to answer your question.
Wow. Well,
That's
one
a
I'm
nice
always.
slogan.
What'd you say?
Oh, I was gonna say that's a nice slogan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I just came up with that.
Yeah.
Right off the cuff. She was born for this. I'm always about saving money, so that that's one thing. I like to say I'm a little bit of a cheap guy myself, but I like spending money on adventures and things with friends, and but I think saving money in your education, I think, is a really big one.
Definitely.
Because college can be expensive. Whether you're taking out financial aid or if you have scholarships, you're always counting the cost of what it's going to take, and having that individualistic approach to everybody's major I think it's very important, because obviously you're studying. Everybody, you may have people that are in the same major, but you may not take all the same electives. You may not be doing the same coursework as somebody else. You may be an integrative studies major. You might be wrapping two majors together to do something that you want to do personally, and not necessarily stick to a strict set of rules. And the fact that the honors college can be flexible with the students about that. If I was in it, I think I'd be really appreciative of it.
Yeah.
So obviously, honors, there's a name attached to it, honors, for a reason. It is competitive. What does it take for an honors student to apply? And what makes them eligible? What's the criteria for them to be able to be considered to be accepted into the honors program?
Yeah, so we have a couple of different options. For students who are incoming to KSU, so maybe you're wanting to start in fall 2021 with us, if you're a high school student, we're looking at your GPA. So we ask for a 3.5 GPA. That is as calculated by admissions, which you can see in AliExpress. So we definitely look at that. And then in a typical year, we usually look at test scores as well, but we're not doing that this year because, of course, the pandemic and the availability of testing. So it's a really good year to apply to honors. We're not asking for those. So just that 3.5 GPA, and then on your application, your honors application, we also have one common essay question. So we do read those and we look at them as well. So that is how you qualify to be accepted to honors. And then we also have some students who, maybe they hear about us later, or maybe they don't qualify coming out of high school, but they're really interested in joining honors. You can actually join as a current KSU student as well. And at that point, after you have KSU coursework with us, we just look at a 3.25 GPA, and of course that honors application with that common essay. So, we have basically two routes that students can go.
That's great, because I was actually going to ask you that, because not everyone does that traditional route to college. Like me personally, I did dual enrollment in high school, but I was still at a community college before I transferred to my big university. And I know that us transfer students, sometimes we kind of feel like we get the short end of the stick because we're not as cute and shiny as the freshman students. So it's awesome that you still have that opportunity for your transfer students or students who just didn't have that GPA that first time around, that they can still be a part of the Journey Honors College, and it's not a one and done opportunity. So that's great to know.
Yeah, we actually have a special designation for students who are transferring from another institution or the current KSU students who found us later, if you're entering honors with 45 to 60 credit hours, you're good to go. I mean, we'd love to have you. So, we feel like that's important for others to have access, not just our incoming freshmen.
Right. And
That's
all students,
awesome.
definitely all students are great. But I think probably those transfer students, you can definitely feel a little bit like a diamond, a lot of pressure, totally different situation. You may not be starting off you may not be at your first choice, when you start college, and that's A-okay. But a little refining, and you come into your own, you come into yourself, and you really are a diamond once you get here. We feel that way about all of our students. But it's definitely a process, and we definitely respect it a ton. So what are some of the benefits to being in the Honors College? Now we know there's a little bit more rigor attached to it, and not necessarily it's that much, a lot to add onto a student's plate. But most of the time anybody does something, it's because it comes with some perks and it comes with some cool things that are attached to it. A little bit of sprinkle on top. So what are some cool things and cool things that come with being an honor student?
Yeah. So, that flexible curriculum, our students have said that's a big perk to be able to pick the things they want to do. And we also have some really special experiences with that curriculum. So we do have study abroad opportunities specifically for honor students. We also have just some really niche opportunities. So we have one of our options in our curriculum is something called an honors discovery. And we rolled this out in fall of 2017. It was the first one we ever did. And the dean of the College of the Arts, she approached us and said, I really want to teach this honors discovery on something called bone records. And an honors discovery, it's always a limited course. So it's 5 weeks long typically, and the students meet once a week for those 5 weeks. And then there's some kind of a culminating experience. Okay. So it's always some kind of a really niche topic that maybe we don't offer a full course on it here at KSU, but it's something that someone teaches and maybe they're an expert in the area. And it's non-credit bearing, which is nice because there's no tuition associated with it. So she approached us and said, I want to teach this on bone records, and we had never heard of it before. We weren't sure what it was. And she was explaining that she was walking through a flea market one day, and she was thumbing through these records, and she found an x-ray in this record bin. And she pulled it out, and she held it up to the light and noticed that there was actually music etched into it. So she had no idea what it was, so she bought it. She was fascinated. She took it home, did research on it, and found that in the 1950s in the Soviet Union, they were not allowed to listen to Western music. It was censored. Wow. So that is how they started smuggling the music into the country, and they could trade it with their friends, and then they were able to listen to the music they loved. So she became a collector of these bone records, and she wanted to teach this discovery for us. So the students met once a week, and she taught them about censorship. She taught them about propaganda. She brought in her collection so that they could see it and actually get to hold the bone records. And then for the culminating experience with that, she had connections in Nashville at music studios. So she took them behind the scenes, and they toured Martina McBride's studio, which is really high tech and fancy. And then they also went to Jack White's studio from the White Stripes, and they got a tour from his nephew. They went to one other studio while they were there. So it was a nice way for them to kind of, tie that experience up. And that was their honors credit. So it was something they took just because they were purely interested in that topic. And it wasn't offered to anyone else at the institution other than honors students. So, there's those kinds of perks that come along with that. But our students also get priority registration. So they are the first to register on campus. And our fall 2021 freshmen who are coming in, they're actually going to get to register May 27th. So make sure, keep that date in mind if you want to apply before then, so you can get that first date. But They have scholarship opportunities. We have housing for our honors students as well. It's not mandatory, but it is an option for them. We have special events every semester, so we've had everything from we did a ping pong tournament last week, and we do trivia nights and, you know, really fun events like that. And then we also do some academic events where we might have a book club that counts as honors credit, and then we actually bring the author to campus where our honors students get to have interact with that author, get their book signed, and have a really special experience. So those are just some of the perks, the extra sprinkle.
Just some. Hey, do you guys have a honors program for graduate students? I'm asking for a friend. No, but that's honestly, that all those things are so cool. I'm gonna start believing people more often when they tell me that the music, it's in my soul, it's in my bones, just like so literally.
Literally, yeah.
And that's so cool to learn. That's something that I feel like those students are going to take with them for the rest of their lives. Just how you can talk about it
Definitely.
right now. That's a story that they're going to tell, to their kids or to their friends one day about that cool class they took. And if it wasn't for the honors college and somebody having the idea to even say, is this something that students would be interested in? They would have never learned about it. And I think that's so amazing. One point you touched on, registration. Now, some of you may not know what registration is. You register for a lot of things. You register for a campus tour. You might have registered for our open house that we've had going on this week. You might have registered for multiple things, throughout your lifetime. But registration, when it comes to college admissions, or not so much admissions, but while you're enrolled at a school, once you apply, you get accepted. You do have to sign up for your first semester of classes, and then after you sign up, so Casey was talking about how the honor students will get that priority registration. We do have our orientations slated for our first year students this summer, and if you fall into that category, then you'll be at orientation and you'll register for your first semester of classes at orientation. But from that point on, it's really your responsibility to go see your advisor, have a conversation about your coursework, and then register for your next semester of classes. So you'll figure out, man, I may have a job or I might have an internship, and I think it would definitely pay off to be on top of that, so that way you can make your schedule and not have to work around it. I'm always a fan of make your schedule work for you, not work around your schedule, because when you do it on the forefront, there's a lot of freedom within it, and you feel comfortable and you're able to just live and not have to worry about, I got to rush from here to here. So registration is exceptionally important. Man, I really wish I was in the honors college when I was in school. That would sound like a lot of fun. Man,
I
so much
offered to
fun.
drive the band to Nashville for the Bone Records Discovery. I'll admit it.
So I
could go, I offered. Said, please let me do
I
it.
offered, she's like,
That's how you sneak your way in.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'll drive.
Yeah.
I think I need to go.
Love to do that for
I
you
will
guys.
chaperone, I will drive, I will bring snacks, just let me know.
Yep.
Can staff members be on these trips too? Can I be a chaperone? Soft ask or a hard ask, please.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. Yes. Yes. Okay, so another cool thing, featured in our honors students, and I'm down at the Marietta campus. That's where my office is. So shout out to the Marietta campus, all majors down there. I love all my majors, but that's where my office is. I have one of the honor students down there. Her name is Kara.
That's my baby.
Love
That's my
She's
baby.
great.
Kara, if
She's
you're
just so
watching,
good.
I love you.
Kara,
I love you.
You were just a ball of sunshine that
Yeah.
we appreciate
She
so
is.
much.
Don't leave me in December, please. Don't graduate yet. Don't.
And she definitely brings the energy to all her tours, and to when she's talking about honors, she's always talking about the honor societies that she's a part of. Can you mention the honor societies that honor students get to join? I know we have the PEGs, the great books, but can you expound on those and kind of tell our viewers, what it means to be in those?
Yeah, so you'll notice on our website and then also in our application, you're going to get questions about our cohort programs. We have two special cohort programs. Both are very unique. They're very different from each other, but these are extra options, that you're doing in addition to honors. So you're part of this really small honors community anyway, but then these cohorts are also limited to 25 students each. So it's a really small community, and these students, they take common classes classes together. So they get to know each other very, very well. They're always so devastated when the program ends because they are so close-knit. A lot of them become roommates and just lifelong friends. Kara she was part of PEGS, the President's Emerging Global Scholars Program. So if you see her, ask her about that, because I know she's going to say it was probably one of her favorite experiences when she was at KSU. But I guess I'll start with Great Books and then I'll shift over to PEGS just to tell you a little bit about both programs. So our Great Books program, it is limited to those 25 students, and it is based on what we call great text. So these students who are accepted to the program, they take core classes together. So classes like your English 1101, your History 1111 classes that everyone needs for their major. But they take it in a different format in that rather than learning from a textbook, they actually learn from great texts, like Pride and Prejudice, for example. So they take these classes using that kind of a format. The classes are all discussion-based as honors courses. And with those same students, they're taking them, and then they actually get to study abroad. So it's a one-year program, and then at the end of the program, they spend 3 to 5 weeks in Italy in Montepulciano, which is our beautiful KSU campus. I mean, just breathtaking. You can see pictures on the website if you're curious. But
can I go back to school?
I was about to say, someone's having
Maybe
some
not graduate,
real
but just,
regret over here.
I can get another undergraduate degree. I'm ready. Oh my gosh.
Get that second degree.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So they get to spend 3 to 5 weeks over there, and they get to also go to Rome, and they go to Florence, and they do a lot of weekend trips. So they really get to, immerse themselves in that culture and just experience amazing things as a freshman. And not a lot of people get to study abroad as a freshman. So it's a really unique opportunity. And then our Great Book students, they also get some funding. So our students in the program, they get a $1,000 scholarship in it. And then we have some scholarships opportunities for study abroad too that will help them with that Italy trip, which is really nice. And the cool thing about honor scholarships, this is the case for all of our scholarships, but they are stackable on top of other scholarships. So for example, if you're getting the Hope Scholarship or Zell Miller, the honor scholarships that you get, they're going to start stacking on top of that. So, they're going to start paying off things if you have anything left over, or, you really want to be in, this specific housing on campus, or, get that meal plan. They start stacking on top, which is great. So. We do ask for a little bit higher GPA for Great Books. So we look at a 3.6 GPA, and again, we're not looking at test scores this year, so it's a really good year to apply.
Makes sense.
And you'll notice that the essay questions, they differ a little bit based on what you're applying for on the application. So if you say, yes, I do want to apply to Great Books, your questions are going to be a little bit different because we look for different things. So I always recommend people go through there, click through our application. That way you know what's going to come up. And then, format your essay in Word, make sure there's no typos or anything, and then just drop it in. So that is our Great Books cohort. And then our second cohort is something called President's Emerging Global Scholars. It's why we call it PEGS. It's a long name, and it just sounds good to call it PEGS. So the PEGS program, it is also limited to 25 students, and it's also part of the honors application, and it is based on what we call 3 pillars, and those are service, leadership, and global competency. So students take 5 courses. It's a 5-semester program, so you're in it through your freshman year, sophomore year, and then the first semester of your junior year. And at the end of the program, at the end of those 5 courses, you automatically earn a minor in PEGS, which is great because that's something else that goes on your transcript. Really makes you stand out when you're applying to graduate school or looking for that first job. So the students go through the program together, and one of the courses that they take, it's usually taught by the Dean of the Honors College, which is really nice. She's very involved in everything we do in honors, but she also directs the PEGS program. So she gets to know those students really well. She gets to write a lot of letters of recommendation, and a lot of those come from the PEGS cohort. So, you know, having a letter of recommendation from the Dean of an honors college.
That looks amazing.
It
Yeah.
looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's not a little thing. It's a big thing that's going to make you stand out. So she's heavily involved. And then there's also 2 study abroad trips for our PEG students. So the first trip they take as a freshman, and that is to, it's been Costa Rica the past several years, but we always go somewhere in South or Central America. And then as a sophomore, the students always get to go to Italy, just like the Great Books students do. So another huge perk, this is where everyone's mouths always drop, is when I talk about the funding for this program, because our students, they get $3,000 while they're in the program. And then we have additional funding for the study abroad. So we have some very generous donors that help us fund this program, so that students who go to Costa Rica, it's usually about $350 to $400. And then for Italy, it's been about $700. And so that includes everything. That's your, you know, your flight, most of your meals, your admission to things like the Coliseum, and they always go zip lining while they're in Costa Rica. So all of those activities and their lodging, and it's all included in that. So it's incredible.
Can I just get a generous donor on my life? I would just deeply appreciate it. But I think what's cool, you know, when you talk about that in terms of just being generous, I think that it's definitely a spirit that kind of, you know, moves around the KSU campus, but specifically in our alumni. You know, I'm just thinking about all the, you know, alumni, you know, that graduate from specific majors. You know, I think about, you know, down at the Marietta campus, you know, a lot of the facilities within the engineering lab or in various buildings, you know, they're given or gifted by, you know, old Southern Poly alumni or now KSU alumni, you know, and all the people that care so deeply about the future of the students, you know, at this university now, and they just want to see them progress even further along in their futures. So it's just always good to hear that it goes on in, you know, in other parts and in other departments. 2 things. One that you brought up was really important to me, and I lost it, so I'm gonna talk about the second thing. Okay. I literally said it and it came back. One thing you said was essays. And when it comes to a lot of these programs, you know, the cohorts, and having to write, you know, additional essays on top of what you already have, I think something that's really important that you guys may not know as students is, you know, you have an English teacher at your high school who's probably teaching you and, you know, helping you finish your senior year. While you're getting your application ready and you're typing up these essays, talk to your English teacher. You know, have them read over your essays, because I think, number one, reading your essay aloud is a big deal, and you'll catch a lot of your mistakes by reading something aloud. But number 2, having a fresh set of eyes looking at the information that you wrote out will help, you know, get your prose and get your flow together, so that way when it arrives, you know, with your application, you know, it's a smooth read for people in the Honors College. And it, you know, it doesn't hurt, you know, it's not cheating to have somebody help you edit your essay and look over things, because, you know, it is your work, and I think that's really important. So be very sharp and be very refined in your essays. That other point left me, and hopefully it comes back, but knowing my brain, it probably won't.
Well,
it'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll come back tomorrow when this is all over.
Yeah.
You're saying?
Well, your point reminded me of something else too. You know, so those essays for PEGs, they also differ, but if I'm talking about those cohorts and you're sitting there and you're thinking, you know, I don't know, it sounds interesting, but I'm not sure, you know, I want to do more research, or, you know, go ahead and apply for those cohorts, because those essays, they actually count as your honors essay too. So, you know, you will get your honors acceptance, and then if you don't get into a cohort, or if you decide not to do it, that's fine. But there's no downside to going ahead to, you know, applying for those cohorts, since that essay does count. for general honors admittance too. And then also the deadline for that is March 31st.
Okay.
So not much time
Quickly
left.
That's coming up.
Yeah.
You want to do it sooner.
You got like a few days
Yeah.
to
Talk to your
apply
English-
for that honors college.
Talk to your English teacher now.
Yeah, today.
Today. Send them an
Tomorrow
email
at the
now.
latest, yeah.
Tomorrow.
So,
And my point came back.
oh, good.
Wonderful. So a part of, being one of those scholars, you mentioned, global competency, service. So you're telling me that honor students are more than just the book work that they do, that they get to engage with their communities and that they get to know what's going on in the world. They're not just totally focused on their schoolwork.
Yeah, our students, they're always the busiest on campus. We have the students who do go out and like to do other things, whether that's doing service or playing sports or doing something else, that working another job, working a second job. Our students always do lots of things. That's where that priority registration really helps out, because
Right.
they can even further shift their schedule around and fit in those other things that they really want to do. But they always have other opportunities. It's not just, oh, you have to do these honors, this honors coursework and take this honors class. We have all these other opportunities for our students to get involved in so that they're really connected on campus.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So we got one more question for you, and then we're going to
Okay.
get into some of the questions that our viewers have.
All right,
So
awesome.
can you talk about, so there's two pathways, honors scholars and honors research scholars. If you don't know, KSU is an R2 research institution. We do perform a lot of research that goes on at this university. But as it pertains to the honors college, what's the difference between those two pathways?
Yeah, so we have basically different tracks. We call them designations. So a designation is actually what you're earning as an honor student. So this designation, when you graduate, it's going to go on your transcript. It's going to be announced at graduation. So we have different pathways that, we really want students to pick the pathway that's going to suit their needs. So for our students who come into KSU with less than 45 credit hours, they will fall into one of two pathways, and that is honors scholar or honors research scholar. The difference is that one of them obviously is a little bit more research-based in that they have an opportunity to do a capstone. A lot of majors at KSU have capstone experiences, but we also offer that if students want to do a capstone, which is really nice if they're thinking about graduate school or they're in one of those STEM fields that maybe that's going to make them stand out. So we have that designation, and then we also have an honor scholar designation that does not have that capstone piece.
Okay.
So we have those two options for students, and then of course for transfer students we have a secondary designation. So if you come to KSU with 45 to 60 credit hours, we want our transfer students to be able to still participate in honors and get the perks. We have a secondary designation for them because they don't have as much time left as our incoming freshmen do.
Correct.
So it's a way for them to still get to participate, get all of these opportunities, and they can get that secondary designation, and that is called honors in the major. So
Right.
that's kind of the difference.
Nobody's left out.
Nobody's left out.
That's amazing. So working real hard, still appreciated. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. So I think this is a good time to field some questions from some
think
great
so,
people that
too.
have been, enjoying us and probably enduring me talk this entire time. So Becca, what do we got?
Okay, our first question, you mentioned the cohort deadlines, but what about the overall deadline to apply for honors this year?
Ooh, okay, so that's a great question. The general deadline for honors is not until July 31st. So a lot of time.
Got
However, we don't want people to wait that long because
Don't
you're
do it.
not eligible for any of your perks like honor scholarships or honors housing or priority registration until you've been accepted. So that deadline is really intended for people who found us really late. Maybe they didn't know if they were going to qualify or whatever it might be. So, but July 31st, that is the absolute last day to apply for fall 2021.
So there seems to be a trend. The sooner you apply and you
Yes.
submit your materials, the easier your life will be. That goes for
True.
admissions, that goes for financial aid, that goes for the
Yes.
honors college. So do us the favor, submit your stuff early, and we will definitely reward you with all those awesome perks.
Such a gift, such a gift. But to my, I'm the empathizer. Obviously, if life happens and you got some things going on, you need some time to get some things in.
Of course,
You're waiting on a GPA to be GPA boost. You're waiting on
We're
those
not
cool
monsters,
things.
you know.
if life is happening and you're still waiting on some things to apply, you're going to be just fine. And that's why we set those deadlines a little bit later than sooner, so that way you can still take advantage of those awesome things.
Right. That's why we usually have application deadlines and then document deadlines.
Boom.
So keep an eye out.
Mic drop.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, so another question. Do you only accept one Great Books cohort per semester?
So we actually accept one Great Books cohort per year. So every fall we admit a new cohort.
Okay.
So they're in it a year, and then they're done with Great Books. We admit a new cohort and so forth.
Awesome. Okay, and then another question. Am I correct that dual enrollment students may not apply to the cohorts and must wait until freshman year?
That is correct. And there's different reasons for that. A big part of it is international travel, because as minors there is that line as far as them being able to travel internationally. But yes, you do have to be a KSU student in that regard to apply for our cohort programs. But you are welcome to apply with dual enrollment credit. So once you come to KSU, if you have credit, that's fine. You're welcome to apply.
That's a tough one. We just want to make sure that you're safe when you're going abroad. That's a big thing.
Yes,
obviously.
absolutely.
Otherwise, you'd have to take your parents with you. Not that your parents don't want to go with you, but
They
I don't
would
know.
love it,
But I don't know if
especially
you
with
want to take
funding.
your parents with you. For I'm playing. I love my parents. I take them anywhere, mostly anywhere. But anyway, I'm playing. But we see the idea there, and that it's all about, you're not punished essentially for being a dual enrollment student, and
No, definitely not.
and being a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of college credits, but your time is coming, basically, is what we're saying.
Yes, something to look forward to.
Right. That's it. Wow. So that's all the questions we have for right now. So Casey, if you could give us some pointers, or what's one thing that you'd love to emphasize to our incoming freshmen about the Honors College, one of the most important things that they should be doing at this point. What do you feel like are some important things that are on your mind that you want them to know?
So I think this is true for any student at KSU, and our honors students especially. We have so many opportunities in honors. I mean, there's a million out there, and so I would really encourage students to get involved when you come here. Especially as a new student here, if you don't know people, it can be a little bit intimidating to put yourself out there and try different things and meet new people.
Right.
But we have found that it really helps. So that's why we offer so many different events. We offer them every semester for everyone from freshman to senior. And a lot of our honors students, they'll say, well, I was a little intimidated coming to this event, and then come to find out I found my best friend at this event, and now
Wow.
we've been roommates for our whole time at KSU. And we have that happen in honors all the time, not just at events, but in these classes that they have. Because if you take an honors class, it's 25 students. I mean, you're in a really small class that's discussion based. That means you get to know your classmates. You get to have conversations with them. So they meet people that way, but just taking every opportunity that you find, because there's a lot out there and you just never know where it's going to lead. I'm thinking of one student in particular who did a teaching assistantship through us, and she was doing it for honors credit. She was also kind of interested, and she ended up doing that honors teaching assistantship, and then it's what made her realize that she wanted to be a professor. So
Wow.
she continued to do those honors teaching assistantships, and that's kind of what led her to graduate school, and that's what made her stand out, and it secured her future. That's what she knows she wants to do. She knows she's passionate about that. And so you can find your niche. You just never know what you're going to find by trying different things, and doing that through honors, it's a really great way to do it, especially in a small kind of protected community where you've got honors advisors, honors staff and faculty who will help you pick things if you need help with that, or just finding opportunities. So that's probably my biggest tip.
That's amazing. I think kind of the theme of that is, the relationships that you build while you're in the program is a big one. I don't know about you, Sam. I have like some good friends from college, and I'd like to think that if I was in the honors college, I would have been in a lot more weddings than I wanted to be. Shout out to all the people's weddings that I was in, when I graduated, which was 4. So post grad, being in 4 weddings is not great on the wallet, but exceptional on the heart. I really did love being in all those weddings, but you just get to do life with with great people that you met in college. You get to build on that. You got any cool stories from your time in school?
So
Sam?
my group of friends, like I said, I was a transfer student. I was also like the youngest in my group because I did dual enrollment and I graduated early. So I kind of forced myself into their friend group because they were already friends as is. So like we would go to class and then they would hang out after class, and at first I would just go home, and then I would kind of stand off to the side and watch them talk, and then I would stand a little bit closer, and then I would start to comment, and then 4 years later we're best friends. Like
Persistence.
they just kind of got stuck with me, and they're the best friends I could ever ask for. So yeah, and I was gonna say, especially with like the picking their own classes, like that flexible scheduling, like that just enhances the college experience in general, because it's like you're not being forced to take classes you don't want to take, and you're given that opportunity to do what you want. And you never know what kind of class is going to be like your absolute favorite that you're still going to talk about years to come, and you don't know if you're going to meet like your best friend in that class or things like that. So I think that just in general is really awesome.
Yeah, we found they enjoy it.
Gotta love it. Becca, I know we got another question.
Got another question. Okay. Are there requirements to stay in the college, honors college, once you've been admitted into it?
That's
Another
a good one.
good question.
That's a good one.
So as far as GPA, we do have a requirement, but it's 3.25, so it's very much obtainable. So we do look at that. And then we ask that you do 1 honors learning experience each semester. So, that could be what you pick. So that's where that flexible curriculum comes in. If you want to do that honors discovery, like what I mentioned, that counts. If you want to be a research assistant in a lab, that counts. Be a teaching assistant. You pick the things that you want to do. So we just ask that you choose one thing every semester, and that's how you remain in good standing with us, and then that 3.25 GPA.
This might be an offhand question going off of that, because life is weird right now. Life is hard in general. Let's say a student dips below that 3.25. Can they come back to the honors college, or is that a one and done thing?
Yeah, so we always want to set our students up for success, and things happen. Life happens. So we give our students a semester. If that happens to you, just bring it back up. You stay in honors. You're going to keep your perks. If you go more than 2 semesters with your GPA being below that, then at that point it wouldn't be good standing, but you can always come back to us too. So we have a lot of students who maybe they say, I'm just having a hard time right now, and then they come back later and say, I want to be part of this again. I'm excited about it. We either reinstate them or they can reapply. So we're never going to say, oh, you can't be in honors anymore. Like, that was it. That's your chance. You're welcome to always come back to us.
That's great.
Yeah.
A little bit of redemption.
Yeah.
Life is hard, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we've all had those semesters while we were in school. I'm probably about to experience. I know Sam's in grad school. You've done the deal.
Did the deal.
I'm walking into a new storm of life. So we'll see how that goes.
You'll be fine.
Very rewarding
fine.
for what it's worth.
Nice. I feel better now. But one thing I think that's cool is, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody's familiar with campus, back when the university was established, 1963, I'm playing. 1963, there was only a few buildings on campus. So we're talking the main student center, library, and Willingham Hall. And Willingham Hall is where the Honors College has been housed for so long, but aren't you guys moving?
We are, yes. So we're actually moving to one of the top floors of the new Academic Leadership Center. So very nice building. We have a beautiful lounge in that new building. So we're excited about it. We can't wait. It's going to be, state of the art. So got a nice view of the green, and so good study space. Ping pong hours.
Y'all
We'll
are just
continue
pampered.
over there.
Just you get the nice study abroad trips. You get to register first. You get a view
They
of the
get
green.
perks.
You know,
Honor students get the perks.
I can't with you all. It's amazing. No, that's amazing. Funny story about that is, at the beginning of pandemic quarantine, I knew that we were starting this project and that new building was going up on campus, and I was excited about it. But I kind of forgot where it was going to be placed. So I was, we were working from home for a very long time, and then, we started, coming back, to campus a little bit, and, there was something I had to come up to the Kennesaw campus for. And, I got off Fry Road, made my left, and I was just like, man, I can't wait to park in my parking lot that I usually parked in that for the last, 4 years in my undergraduate degree. And lo and behold, there is a giant structure on my parking lot. And
We're sorry about that.
you can see how broken up I am about this. And I had to calm myself because, I was just like, this
It's
is for
because you didn't join the honors college.
just for the students. It's not for me. And this is a me problem, not a KSU problem. But then when I found out everything that was going on inside of it, I was just like, well, I'm going to study in this building because
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah, we're going to have an honors classroom in there. I mean,
it's going to be beautiful.
It looks like it's going to be nice.
It's nice, honestly, just the way it looks on campus. And I'm excited. I think we just posted something about it on the...
That wasn't me. But
That
also,
wasn't you.
big debate. Fray,
Fry.
it?
Somebody
say
told me
Fray.
the correct way was Fry Road, and I had said it Fray Road for
Always said Fray.
all the
I say
time.
Fray.
Too.
So somebody told me Fry Road and told me that was correct. Obviously, who knows if it was fake news,
Mind
but
blown.
hopefully it wasn't.
Fake news.
So I'm really hoping that it was correct. But either way,
We know what you're talking about. That's all that
You know what?
matters.
You know
So
where
It's a
I'm going.
debate. It's a debate. But the university page did post details about the new building.
And that's what I was saying. So if you're interested, please check out, our progress on that building. And also, if you haven't seen KSU at all, you can always come take a campus tour. At the moment, we're still doing campus tours, socially distant, and that's very important. Your safety is a number one priority to us. But if you're not at that point yet, we totally understand. We want you to take some time and do our virtual tour. Please, go on it. It's very interactive. It shows you all the buildings, and it gives you kind of in-depth details on what's inside it. Where kind of how to weave your way through campus. It's absolutely beautiful. I feel like it's the best virtual tour in the country. Maybe I'm biased because I work here, but I like things. I like to recommend things that I enjoy, and I really enjoyed it when I did it. So definitely check out what's going on campus. So we still got a little bit of time left.
I was actually going to say, speaking of tours, I know you folks do a day with honors.
We do.
And I advertise that so hard during the information sessions.
Thank you.
Like, that's the first thing I say. I'm like, okay, so the Journey Honors College, you're going to want to go on their website and sign up for a day with honors.
We love that.
I like to think I know what I'm talking about because I haven't done it myself. But tell us, what consists of, a day with honors?
Yeah, so we've been doing this event forever, as long as I've been here, and I've been here a while, and it was done before me too. A day with honors is basically it's a presentation to begin with where you learn more about that curriculum and all the perks of the Honors College. We really talk about things in depth. And then you actually get to go on a campus tour with a current honors student. So, I can talk about honors all day. I love talking about it, but students and their parents, they usually like to hear it from someone who's experiencing it, which is totally understandable. So that's why we have it set up that way. Kara Stanley, who we were talking about,
Right.
she
Yes.
is one of our lovely tour guides.
We love you, Kara.
She does
We
Marietta
love you.
campus, and then we have some other fabulous honor students who lead those campus tours. So they're going to give you their perspective on it, tell you about their honors experience. So we offer that. Usually it's about every other week, and we are also doing social distancing during those tours. So they've been filling up very quickly because we can't accommodate as many as we used to be able to. So we're trying to offer more dates. We offer them on both campuses. But if for some reason you can't come to campus, maybe you live far away or you're not comfortable, we're also doing some virtual information sessions. So we have several of those scheduled at our website, and so you are welcome to sign up for those. You'll get that same presentation. So we have different options for students, but a day with honors is awesome.
So when you move into the new building, is that going to be one of the stops?
Oh,
Maybe?
yes. I think
Okay.
it has
It
to
better
be.
be.
Okay, so that means we need to go on a day with honors. So you can think about, reminisce on everything you missed out, and then I could go check out the building.
I still look like a student, so I think I can pass and signing up for
He's
the
going to
tour.
sneak into our lounge one day.
Ain't no sneaking in. I'm gonna get access. I need that. I need every piece. I need it. Yesterday.
I'm going to have to say, Kiani, you're not an honors student. Get out of here.
And you belong at Marietta anyway.
I should be. Yeah. I mean, I should be in my office. But as we've learned, you can work from anywhere in these last couple months. So I'll be working from the Honors College Lounge.
I'll come get him, don't worry.
Okay.
Please don't.
Yeah, just call
Please
me.
don't. Please don't.
Kiani's at it again.
So one last thing, we have these foundations of learning within the Honors College, and we want to leave this up to the students to do some more research on them. But what's one of them that you feel is really important and that kind of embodies honors students?
Oh, you're going to make me pick one. Okay, so there's 8 of them, so this is hard to pick one. I'm going to emphasize the leadership one. So these are basically marketable skills that people have told us are important. So, graduate schools and faculty members and employers, they've said these are skills that we really want our students to have when they graduate. And so leadership is one of those skills, and I won't talk about all other 7 of them, but they're things that we try to weave into every honors learning experience that our students have. So, for example, with leadership specifically, we have a lot of leadership positions specifically for honors students. So whether that's, I have marketing interns who are getting that experience. We have a group of honors ambassadors. We have honors peer mentors. We have lots of different positions that really emphasize leadership. So that's just one example for those foundations.
That's lovely. And I think overall, if you choose KSU, you're definitely choosing to become a leader. Wherever you go, in the workforce, in your community, it's going to happen. I think that's something that's emphasized a great deal here. I felt that as a student, and if you're going into the Honors College, you're definitely going to feel that a lot. So, Casey, you've been great.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
It's been
joining us,
fun.
and you're amazing. And Sam, as always, it's a pleasure.
Always a pleasure,
So,
Kiani.
and to everybody that tuned in today, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in with us and ask us great questions regarding the Honors College. We do a lot of these events, but they're also important because it gives you the information that you need, because choosing a post-secondary institution is a big decision. And it should be an informed decision, and we're glad that we can be a part of that process for you. So we're wrapping up here. Quick little tidbit before we do sign off. Remember, we have virtual open house going on this week. We just passed our Marietta event, so shout out to all of our Marietta folks that participated on Tuesday. Tonight is all Kennesaw campus majors. So tune in with us. We'd love to have you. You might be doing a back-to-back session with us. We would deeply appreciate it. Definitely tune into one of the various academic colleges to learn about your major. So with that said, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you later, and Hooty Hoo.
Hooty Hoo.